Hello. So we have another digital online tutor tutorial here. Um, this one is going to be a three-part series. It's going to be looking at animations that can be created in 3D Studio Max, and then converted and transferred across to Unreal 4 engine. So each part of the series will look at different types of animation, going from basic through to something slightly more advanced. So let's go ahead and make a start. So I've given you the asset in Moodle. I'll also make sure I put a link in the bottom of this video for the people that are watching this don't have access to Moodle. And as you can see, it's just a simple kind of a med pack icon 3D model type thing. Nothing special, but it does the job for what we're looking for. So we've got this playhead at the bottom of the screen. So if I go and hit Auto key at the bottom there, and then I also like to hit set key next to that as well, just to assign it. And if I move the playhead to 50 frames in and rotate this, I've also got snaps turned on at the top as well, which is worth noting, just so I can make this nice and smooth. So I've just turn this 180 degrees, and as you can see, if I move the playhead back and forth now, that's recorded that position for me. I'm going to do the same at the end, and I'm going to achieve that by just rotating it again, another 180 degrees, and I like to again hit the plus icon just to make sure that all different axes have been set. So yeah, that's how we can create a simple rotation of an object like this using the auto key at the bottom of the screen. You can also play this by pressing the question mark key or the / key if you wanted to. If you wanted to see how this looked. So I'm also going to add upwards movement on the z-axis, so you can see that as this moves through, it will also go up in the air. These keyframes as well that we're adding can be deleted if you feel like you haven't quite captured what you wanted, so you can delete them and reset them again if you wanted to. So, for example, me deleting that one just there, and I'll rotate that again like that, and rotate it again just there. So this time, because I haven't pressed set key, it hasn't assigned all of the different positional data as well at the same time. So it now gives me a couple more options to play around with. So I can right click on that, and that brings that back down to 0. So when I go to export, I want to make sure everything like smoothing groups are ticked, and I can make sure that these other bits are not ticked because we don't need those for what we're doing today in this tutorial. So once you're happy with this section, we need to go into the animation section of these exporting FBX options. Make sure they're ticked. Once you're happy, you can go ahead and click OK. And there's our full animation. At the moment you can see that there is, it's starting and stopping to do with the fall off. So you can go and open up the curve editor, and you'll find it's a little bit fiddly. It's not the best curve editor in the world, admittedly, but you'll see from the line that there are some curves to this. If you select the different points and select the straighten out icon just there, this just straightens it out. And so what should happen now, this should just be a consistent flow. So There'll be no slowing down, which is continuously spin. There's no loss in speed or fall off, which is what you might want. You might not want that. You might want it to stop and start. Obviously, if that's the case, then you don't need to do those options. So over in Unreal, I'm just going to tidy up that a little bit. And what we want to do is we want to go ahead and create a new folder, give it an appropriate name, just so we can keep our assets nice and neat and tidy. There's some things that you don't, for example, you don't need to be a skeletal mesh. We just want to, we do want it to be a skeletal mesh, beg your pardon, because that's how we actually make sure that this comes in appropriately. So even though it doesn't have bones associated with it, by saying that we're going to import it as a skeletal mesh, this will mean that when we import it in, Unreal will create one for it, which is how essentially the animation will exist. So we need to tick animation there. So you can't import animation just on a normal static mesh. It has to be a skeletal mesh when it's in Unreal. Go ahead and click Import All. Don't worry about that warning message, that's fine. As you can see, it's kind of created a skeleton for us. And as I said before, this is essentially how we allow the animation to happen. So, as you can see, we've got different, we've got some materials imported in there. We've got the actual static mesh, the physics actor, and then the animation as well. So if we pull in one of these assets, so these do have different colors associated with them as well to try and help you understand which asset is which from a glance. And you can also hover over these and they will tell you what they are at the end of the name that's given. So if I pull in the static mesh, the skeletal mesh, beg your pardon, there is the option of changing this to animation asset in the details panel, and then you can choose the animation. Obviously there's only one, so we will just choose that one. Then if we go ahead and click play, we can see this animation happening. It automatically had collision generated as well when we brought it in, because we left that tick box ticked in the FBX import options. Now, if we wanted to, we could have this fired off through the level sequence. With the object selected, obviously right click in the space, and this will automatically, normally will bring a transform track in, but if not, you can just add the track and add a transform track yourself manually. So if we would just drag in the static mesh there. Keep calling it static mesh, apologies. It is actually a skeletal mesh. So you can see at the bottom that you can actually, within this, specify the actual animation when it takes place. So if you don't want your animation to play continuously within Unreal, you could then just have it play at a certain point, just so it doesn't loop continuously. But then of course you can actually loop level sequences continuously. So it gives you the option perhaps to play around with in terms of it's only working at certain points. Obviously you need to make sure as well that we've, in the level sequence, we have ticked that we want this to autoplay and to loop as well, so that should work now. So there we go, so we have it there, and it will pause for a bit, and then it will do that again on repeat. Okay, this is the conclusion of the first part of the video. Thanks very much for watching, tune in for part 2.